and get the Minister to reply. Deputy Kenny.
Thanks, Gaeltacht. I'm substituting for Deputy Jed Nash, who can't be here. I want to welcome the Minister and to welcome this report. I think it's an extremely important report arising from the Mahon Tribunal. I was a councillor on Dublin City Council when some of the events covered by the Mahon Tribunal took place. I'm thinking particularly of the Quarryvale lands, that module. It wasn't a planning matter, it had to do with the sale of lands. It wasn't a planning matter, but nevertheless it is something that was of concern and included in the Mahon Tribunal recommendations. I also represent a constituency in Dublin North East, which includes Baldoyle, Portmarnock and Cloughren, areas where substantial rezonings occurred in the 1993 Dublin County Council Development Plan, and Mahon did make strong comments about those decisions and about payments that were made to some councillors at that particular time in Baldoyle and in Drumney, and he also commented on the Cloughren rezoning, which in fact didn't actually go ahead, but that wasn't for the want of trying on the part of those who were trying to bring it about. It's also been said that that the property bubble of the Celtic Tiger stemmed from the kind of overzoning and the inappropriate zonings that happened during the 1990s in the Dublin County area. And today, with negative equity and unfinished estates, we're living with some of the results and the fallout from that, and I think that has to be borne in mind. The Minister poses the questions about the independent regulator, whether it should be on Bord Pleanála or whether it should be a new body. And I take the point about having another Quango is something that you shouldn't rush into doing. We also bear in mind that some of these planning decisions are made during the making of city and county development plans, which is an open, democratic, accountable procedure. So we have to bear in mind that there has to be a level of democratic accountability in the making of city and county development plans. Personally, I would tend to favour on Bord Pleanála as being the regulator. I think in recent decades, Bord Pleanála has been demonstrated to be an independent body and a competent body, and I think his decisions have been broadly welcomed. I'm thinking particularly of the most recent one that comes to mind is the Balls Bridge decision, where Dublin City Council planning decision was overturned on the basis that Bord Pleanála felt that Dublin City Council weren't adhering to their own development plan, and I would agree with Bord Pleanála in that instance. Deputy Stanley talked about the brown envelopes and all that kind of stuff, which definitely went on and which was commented in Mahon. That is being covered, I understand, by an anti-corruption bill, which the Minister for Justice brought a report to the Justice Committee recently about that, and I think the brown envelope stuff would be covered in that, and I think action does need to be taken. We can't just overlook and sweep under the carpet some of the things that happened there, and I take the point that it was only a small number, but that small number was able to bring about majority decisions, which the consequences of which some people are living with today in negative equity. I also want to talk about the planning enforcement, and I think that's a very, very, very important issue. I mean, Priory Hall probably is the worst example of the lack of planning enforcement. If proper planning enforcement and proper planning controls had been in place, that fiasco wouldn't have happened. I think that there has to be a greater priority and a greater amount of resources provided by local authorities for planning enforcement. There was, during the property boom, I mean, the local authority or Dublin City Council, and just take that as an example, was supposed to inspect 15% of all developments. Now, in my view, they weren't inspecting 5% of that. So I think a lot of things were let slip, and I think there needs to be a greater priority in future in relation to the priority and resources. Okay, we're not in a property boom now, and it doesn't look like we're going to be in one. But these things come in cycles, and in 10 or 15 years' time, we don't want to repeat all of the mistakes that were made, and that does often tend to happen. So, but I welcome this report, and as I say, in relation to the independent regulator, I would tend to favour on Bord Pleanála rather than setting up a new Quango. Thank you.